Hey everyone, it's Jonathan with Butler Creek Farm, and I want to let you know that that great day is getting near. What's that great day? Well, we call it freezer camp for the hogs. If you're watching this video, you've probably ordered either a half or a whole hog from us, and they go in a week from today and will be processed. I want to share with you a little bit about what to expect in that while giving you a chance to see the great environment that our pigs are raised on here. So you can see them in the background here. They're munching on some fresh hay that we gave them. While they do eat primarily a hog ration of food made up of grains and things like that, they do enjoy some hay as well, and you can see them going at it right there. This hay that they like in particular has quite a bit of clover in it, and they really seem to enjoy that. It's also good for their diet. Kind of like salad for us, I suppose. Anyway, a couple things about processing and what to expect. A few of you have had some questions, and I just wanted to answer a couple things for you to help you understand what to expect over the next few weeks. So first and foremost, the hogs will be loaded up here and they'll be brought to Drummond Meats in Ravenna, Michigan. They'll be doing our processing. Once they arrive there, they are tattooed, and the reason they're tattooed is so that we can make sure you're getting one of these pigs you see behind me and not somebody else's pig. So when you buy a premium pork from Butler Creek Farm, we can assure that you're going to get that pork in your freezer as well. After that, the hogs actually get transported to DeVries Meats in Coopersville. And the reason there is DeVries Meats is a USDA certified facility processor, and they are dispatched there very humanely. And then they are brought back over to Drummond Meats, where we'll have what we call hanging weight, which is the weight of the pig without its entrails and things like that. And we'll be able to gauge at that point what some of your processing options and costs will be at that point. So just a few things about that. One of the first questions that comes up, and I just addressed, but how do I make sure, Jonathan, that we're getting one of the pigs that we're paying for? Well, very simply, as I mentioned, when we bring them to Drummond Meats, Drummond is going to go ahead and tattoo each of the pigs that we bring in. They all get the same number for that week, and that tattoo goes into their skin. So the pigment actually goes into the skin of the hog, and that way, even after they're dehaired and everything else and brought back for processing, that tattoo is still visible, so we can make sure that you're actually getting one of our premium hogs that way. And that's good for us too, because guess what? One's going in my freezer as well. So that's one of the questions that came up and I want to address. The second question is, how do I choose my cuts? Well, I'm going to be sending each of you a copy of this cut sheet for you to take a look at. It's very simple and straightforward. If you have questions, you can contact either myself or you can contact Drummond Meats towards the end of next week. Probably, I would say, on the, I believe it would be the 9th, next week, Friday. By then, they'll have the pigs back and they'll have weights and they'll know which hog is yours. One important note. The pigs are going to then be processed into your cuts the following Tuesday. I believe that's the 12th. I'll verify my dates here. If for any reason you don't get your cut instructions to Drummond prior to that, then the butcher will make their decision on what cuts you're going to get. Now, that's not the end of the world, because you're going to get a good sample of all the various cuts, from pork chops to bacon to ham to roasts and a whole bunch more. But if you've got specific things that you want, please take the time to let Drummonds know what you want, because that will make sure you can get exactly what you're looking for. So in my case, and again, we may not be the same as you, but we really like our bacon and we really like our sausage. So when we process our hog, we're actually going to have obviously the belly made into bacon, which is your normal bacon that you're used to, but we're also going to have them take what's called the shoulder roast and turn that into bacon. It's a different type. It's a meatier bacon, often referred to as cottage bacon if you want to search that on Google. But we like that. And then we're also going to take the pork loin, which typically goes into pork chops. We're not huge fans of pork chops here at the Mast household, so we're going to go ahead and actually turn that into Canadian bacon. And we love Canadian bacon. Most of the rest of the pig will have a couple of roasts made so I can smoke them on my grill, but most of the rest we're going to turn into either fresh ground pork that's unseasoned, and we use that in place of hamburger and things like tacos and even burgers, meatloaf and things like that. It's absolutely fantastic. In fact, I don't like beef tacos anymore because we've had them with pork for so many years. So just a few things to think about. But again, if you're not sure, go ahead and get whatever you would like. And on the sheet here that I'm going to share with you, you'll see some options of what you can choose. Things like shoulder roast, pork steaks, pork chops, loin roast, rib ends roast, spare ribs, hams, ham slices, sausage, and then you can choose the type of seasoning. Do you want breakfast sausage? Do you want Italian sausage? Do you want a different type of sausage, like maybe a bratwurst? I like those myself. And then other options that come through. So you've got all of those options that are available for you. If you have any questions, please, I'll share Drummond's information on here, and I'll give you the right dates to contact them, and they will go ahead and answer any questions. They have been so immensely helpful, and they're great to work with. So they'll be able to answer any questions if you want anything specific. What happens then is that hog will be processed, and then they'll schedule a date that hog will be ready for you to come pick up. It'll all be packed in mainly vacuum bags, other than some of the sausage gets put in a sleeve. But again, it's airtight, and that gives you the ability to stop and pick up that processed hog when it's ready. As soon as your hogs are dropped off, if you've bought one, I'll be sending you an invoice for the balance of what's due on the hog. So it'll be the total price less your deposit. In addition to that, there will be a processing cost that you're going to be paying to Drummond's. We talked about that up front if you've bought a hog, but I wanted to share some of those actual costs so you could factor in what that might be. And those go as follows. So there is on average, what they call a $60 processing fee, and that handles the dispatch of the hog and things like that. And as long as the hog comes in under 250 pounds hanging weight, that's all that cost is there. In addition, then you get to choose how you want it processed. The larger the hog, the more expensive it is, only because they charge by the pound for processing. And it's 60 cents a pound to process that pig. In addition, if you want some smoked products, smoked hams or bacon or things like that, then those have an additional cost of 69 cents a pound. So you'd actually be paying $1.29 per pound for processing for any smoked items. Just 60 cents for unsmoked, but $1.29 for smoked items. If the pig happens to be extra large, and I know a couple of you have asked for the biggest one you can get, if it weighs in over 250 pounds hanging weight, then that initial processing fee, instead of $60, is 25 cents a pound. The example would be if, let's say, that weighed in at 300, which is probably as big as we're going to get, maybe even not that big. But if it were, that would be a $75 processing cost instead of a $60 dispatch cost. So just a couple of factors for you there. Again, I always share all of this information in an email that I send out with this video, but I wanted to make sure you had all of that available. So after you've paid Butler Creek Farms for the hog, when you go to pick it up in Ravenna from Drummond Meats, you'll pay them for the processing. It's very important to note, Butler Creek does not pay for that processing, as we discussed up front. But just as a reminder, that will be a cost that you pay based upon your choices when you pick up the hog there for your freezer. And if you have any questions, again, everything will be vacuum packed and is going to be in boxes, so you can literally show up with your car and load the boxes of fresh pork. It should all be frozen at that point into your vehicle and go along with it there. So one additional thing that I want you to consider, if this is your first time ordering a hog, whole hog, again, just so you know, Butler Creek Farm has to sell you a live animal, which we do, in either a half or a whole, and then the processing, again, is done by Drummond. And that's just to be akin with all the applicable laws that are out there for food safety. Again, your hog will be inspected at a USDA facility, so we can assure that it will go through that USDA inspection as part of the dispatch, and that's for safety purposes. Once that's all said and done, there are some unique cuts that you may want to consider. So if you haven't ever done this, here's a couple things you may want to try, and again, talk to Drummond's about the specifics. One of the best ones, hogs have fat on them. Some of that fat's going to be used in your sausage and things like that, but you're going to have some extra fat. Some of it's just called back fat, other parts called leaf lard. And if you bake it all, make sure you ask that they save that leaf lard for you. When you get that home, you can simply cut it up in chunks, put it in a crock pot with just a skosh of water and render it very slowly, and it will create some of the most amazing fat for you to use in your bakery products. So instead of using a Crisco or an Oleo or something like that, you can use some of this amazing fat. And it's not only is it more healthy for you, in my opinion, but it's certainly far, far better tasting. So consider that for the leaf lard. There will also be extra fat that's probably available on most of the hogs, although we won't know for sure if and how much until after they're processed. But if you're interested and you ever use grease for cooking or butter or anything like that, you can also take that fat, again, cube it up, render it down slowly, and it will store for a very long time if you simply put it in like a mason jar with a can on top or a lid on top. And you can use that when you're cooking, baking, frying up foods, anything like that. So if you're game, give that a try. You'll be impressed with the flavor, I promise you. If you're not, that's okay. We'll take care of that extra fat, and you don't have to deal with it if you don't want to, but something to consider. The other thing I want to encourage you to consider, if you're a fan of brats, and I happen to be a fan of brats, is they make a wonderful brat or pork patty. And I don't know the exact seasoning that goes into it, but if you're looking for a great replacement to a standard hamburger, they come pre-sized, pre-packaged, all vacuum sealed. They look just like a hamburger patty, frozen, but it's all pork and it's seasoned. They're delicious. If you eat hamburgers on a regular basis, or you're looking for something unique this summer to have on the grill when you've got neighbors over, ask them about those pork patties. They're fantastic. Well, I hope this has been helpful as we've talked about what you can expect and the dates. Again, I will include in the details of this video all the exact dates because I may have misstated a couple of them here, and I'll give you all the information for Drummond Meats. If you have any questions between now and then, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to chat, and we'll wish these pigs a happy last week as they get ready to go to freezer camp. Thanks, and make it a great day.